Good morning, you guys. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Rebecca Zoot, Director of Development for Right Brain.
I'm Luke Manfeld. I am the writer for Right Brain.
And Right Brain is Business Publications' newest custom content division. And we are here this morning to talk video.
Yeah, video can be a big part of your marketing plan, and I think that's kind of been the trend in the last few years. Here's just a few numbers that help you understand how big video can be for your marketing needs. 90 million or 100 million users use video every day, which amounts to about and the video amounts for 1/3 of that online activity.
Wow.
And 83% of marketers say that if time or resources wasn't a factor, they would do more video for their marketing. And actually 90% of online shoppers use video to influence a purchasing decision. So video can really be a big factor for some of the businesses that use them.
That's pretty huge. So this morning, Luke is going to be putting me in the hot seat on video questions. But before we get started with Q&A, if you guys do have any video questions yourselves, go ahead and put them in the comments. And I'm going to share just a little fun fact as well, too. So we're going to need you guys to do a little voting this morning. So Luke and I are actually both Minnesota natives. So we grew up in towns about 30 miles from each other. I grew up in Montgomery, Minnesota, and Luke grew up on the other side of Interstate 35 in Northfield, Minnesota. So go Super Bowl this weekend. Of course, we're both going to be watching.
Of course.
And so I think that you guys really need to vote for us this morning and let us know in comments who you think still has the most notable Minnesota accent.
Yeah, I don't know if that will be much of a competition. I think you're going to take that one, but we'll see.
Which I have to say, I was laughing when Luke said that because I've actually been in Iowa for 18 years, so I thought I lost my long vowels, but apparently not. So just a little bit of fun as we're going through the video. So ask questions, and we're going to go ahead and get started.
Sure. So first question, I think probably maybe one of the more important ones to get you started is what kind of equipment do you need to kind of get your video started?
Yeah, definitely. You can use a variety of equipment, depends upon what you have available. And we are actually shooting this morning on a cell phone camera. And there are some great cell phones right now. Technology on cell phones are great. But if you are looking for cameras, a DSLR camera is going to offer the best quality for you guys.
Yeah, and quality, if you need to save money, cell phones do a great job of shooting videos. Like you said, we're using it now. DSLR does a great job with those high quality videos like you see in commercials and stuff. So, but when you got your equipment now, how do you start your video? What are some things you need to do to kind of get things ready off screen before you start recording?
Definitely. You're going to want to start first with preparing a storyboard and a script. And prep your subjects and interviewers ahead of time so they know what they're going to be saying. Make sure that you let them know how you want them to act on camera. Check your lighting and acoustics in the room as well too, because that's going to be very important to making sure that you have the professional quality video that you're wanting to portray for your business.
Sure, and a good segue there. Lighting is kind of the number one rule when it comes to doing a video because it kind of make or break if people want to watch it or not. So can you tell us a little bit about what makes good lighting and how that can affect the viewer?
Definitely. So like you said, lighting is key. So if you do have natural light, you're going to want to take advantage of natural light as much as possible. If you are going to be using artificial light, make sure that you're testing it ahead of time to make sure that there's not shadows going on. What other thoughts do you have on lighting, Luke?
Yeah, and I think it's okay to, like you said, the subject can move around, and sometimes there might be a spot in the room that they're comfortable with, but if the lighting doesn't work, you don't want to force it, right? So you need to make sure that you can move them around if need be. And right now we're using kind of a hybrid setup, so we have a ring light in front of us, and we have some window light coming in, some natural lighting.
Yes.
So,
we're upstairs in the depot, so we have some pretty good lighting up here.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a good way to do it, is to make sure to use two different types of lights to make sure you have a perfect kind of combination.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
So what are some other good tips to shooting your video? How else can you improve your shot?
Well, you are definitely going to want to invest in a tripod just to make sure that your video is very clear, it's not shaky. You may think that whoever's shooting your video is going to be really steady, but it's really hard to get that perfect still shot. So definitely get a video tripod. And another tip is don't be too flashy with your special effects. So it might be fun to do a lot of zooms or pans, but that can really be a distraction to the viewers actually. So if you're going to go ahead and focus on your subjects, that's probably going to be your best bet. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the rule of thirds. And I'm going to let you hop in on this. And we actually use this in our setup today.
Yeah, sure. So think of like a tic-tac-toe board. So you have, two vertical lines and two horizontal lines. You want to line up your subject on where the vertical and the horizontal lines line up. So as you can see, Rebecca's on the left side of your screen, where I'm on the right side. So we're in those 2 points on each side where these two lines intersect. So that's what the rule of thirds is. You want to kind of hit those points, and it helps that where the eye goes when they watch the video is to those points. So that's why it's kind of key. No one wants to see just the center. So lining up your subjects in those spots is critical. And
like a tic-tac-toe board.
Yeah, exactly, like a tic-tac-toe board. So, so now that you've got your video shot and you have everything you need to make your video, what are some post-production tips, some editing tips?
Yes, definitely. And we are doing a live this morning, so no editing.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get. But if you are producing a video that you want to have with editing, here are our best tips for that. Don't overdo the editing with special effects. You don't want your message to get lost in the special effects. Make sure all of your subjects are properly identified in the video with their name and their titles, and that can be done on the lower third of your screen. And music. Let's talk a little bit more about music, Luke.
Yeah, so music is kind of a tricky subject when it comes to video because you don't want to use copyrighted music, and that can be very costly if the person who obviously owns a copyright finds out, or they can actually file a lawsuit. So you want to be careful with copyrighted music. There actually are royalty-free music sites if you just Google stuff, but there's also subscription-based royalty-free sites. So make sure you're following the rules there. You don't want to get in a tricky situation. Yeah. So
let's stay out of trouble with
that's not good.
Do your research.
So how long should a video be? I know that's a big topic of discussion, especially in
a huge topic.
Video.
Yes, and video studies have shown that you want your video to be 2 minutes or less. I'm going to point out that we're doing a live video this morning. So statistics on live videos are a little bit different. So in order to get your top engagement on live videos on social media, you're going to want to try to hit that 15-minute mark. But for produced videos that you're maybe sharing on your social media, you're having on your websites, the 2 minutes and under is going to be your magic mark. Viewership does remain steady, however, between that 6 to 12-minute mark. And whatever you do, try not to exceed that 12-minute mark because you're going to be kind of getting into the danger zone of losing your viewers.
Sure, and another way of helping viewers engage your video and helping them watch is having captions. So what's with all the captions you see on Facebook videos and YouTube videos and stuff like that?
Yes, actually, it's a pretty huge percentage as well. 85% of people watch video without the sound. So having captions is going to be pretty key, and it's going to help you convey your message even when the sound isn't on.
Yeah. Something that maybe people don't think about a lot, or maybe they overthink, is what to dress or what to wear and what not to wear. So can you give us some tips on what are some good outfits to wear while you're on camera?
Yes, definitely. We will talk a little bit about fashion.
Yeah.
So first of all, tip number one, what you're going to want to avoid wearing is going to be your stark whites and your yellows. Those are going to be appearing too vivid on the camera. So number two, you're going to want to avoid wearing black because the black is going to absorb the light. Number three, we're going to talk about pinstripes. So you're not going to want to have something that's going to be too distracting with your patterns on the camera. So complicated patterns such as tightly knit plaids are just going to kind of create that strobe effect on the camera.
Yeah,
so you're going to want to avoid those. Yes. And so let's talk about jewelry. So you're going to want to make sure that your jewelry is not too shiny, not too dangly, not too distracting, so your light isn't reflecting off of your jewelry. And also if your jewelry, or like your bracelets, if you have too much bracelets going on, if it's going to be distracting and make a rattling noise. So really think about your jewelry choices. And if you're in question on the jewelry before you get to the shoot, just go ahead and bring a couple of different options for jewelry, and you can give it a whirl and see what's going to work best. Another tip that we have for you guys is avoid wearing a new suit, for instance, for your video shoot. You want to make sure that you're going to be feeling comfortable. So you want to look your best, and you want to make sure that you're comfortable and not trying something for the first time that's going to be too tight on the camera.
Yes.
For hair, make sure that your hair is going to be off your face and you're not creating shadows. And then lipstick. Go ahead and bring a variety of lipsticks to try. You're going to want your lipstick and blush to be in brown tones rather than red tones.
Sure. Well, that's all the questions I had for you today, Rebecca, and we want to thank you for joining us this morning for our little coffee chat. And we really hope we helped you with some of your video questions. I know it can be kind of a daunting task if you don't have a lot of experience.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us this morning, and we'll put our emails in the comments so you can kind of reach out to us if you have any more questions. But
Yes.
thank
Have
you.
a great Friday. We'll see you next time, guys.